Okay, so for my public intellectual project, I will be creating an op-ed piece arguing in favor of imposing term limits on United States Congress members, which would be a 3-term or 6-year limit on United States House of Representative members and a 2-term or 12-year limit on United States senators. And I believe that imposing these term limits would be an effective way of making Congress a more efficient and representative legislative body than it currently is. And so I kind of started to think about this topic with the current situation going on with COVID-19 causing the federal stimulus bill to be proposed to Congress. And so this bill, as it was meant to bail out American people, you would think would make its way through Congress very quickly, but instead it got delayed a few days because many congressmen and women were trying to slip in additional clauses into the bill that had nothing to do with the crisis, that were purely meant to push forward their political agendas. And so this kind of made me think that Congress is no longer doing an effective job at representing the people, and they're no longer very efficient at actually passing important legislation. And so something needs to be changed. And so I believe with the current situation, with unlimited terms being able to be had by these politicians, that allowing these congressmen and women to serve for 10, 20, 30 years, or even more in office is actually very detrimental to their ability at lawmaking and representing their people, as the whole time that they're serving in Congress, these men and women are living in Washington, D.C., and I think that this causes them to be very detached from the societies that they come from and that they are meant to represent, and they can easily lose focus on the interests of the people that put them there in the first place. And going along with this, being in office for a significant amount of time causes these congressmen and women to build relationships with special interest groups such as lobbyists and labor unions, and then also alliances among each other with the other congressmen and women. And I believe these alliances and relationships with special interest groups are very detrimental to the way that Congress represents the American people with lawmaking, because these congressmen and women begin to vote kind of to keep their alliances intact and to keep their special interest groups happy, rather than voting on laws and trying to pass laws that will help to support the people that they're trying to represent, or that they're meant to represent. And going off that, also having unlimited terms ends up kind of resulting with a good amount of the later half of the terms of these politicians to be main focus to be on kind of re-election campaigns, putting a lot of time and energy into fundraising efforts and just getting reelected for the next term, because they know that they can just keep getting additional terms forever. And so I believe this takes a great deal of their time and effort away from actually their job, which is passing laws and getting legislation passed that will support the people that they're meant to represent. And so if these politicians did have term limits, I believe they would be much more hasty and much more efficient at actually passing laws and getting things done that will help to support the people that they were put there by, because they know that they can't just keep focusing on re-election and focusing on getting back in office again and again, because that won't be an option for them. So they'll focus more on actually getting the job done. And one of the main counter arguments against my points are that the American people should be able to vote on these politicians over and over again because we have a democratic society. And my biggest argument against that is that these incumbents can amass so much wealth and power that it's kind of it gives them an unfair advantage in re-elections, and kind of results in them winning over and over again, even if they are not doing work that's in the best interest of their people.